everyone here like Ready Player One? Okay. All right. What about, do you like, how many here have read the book? Okay, a lot of you. And how many of you have seen the movie? How many of you have never seen Ready Player One as a book or a movie? Okay.
Good, because we're going to
That's fine.
spoil everything.
Oh, okay, so we're going to have spoilers, but...
You've come to the right place.
That's all right. So thanks for coming. This is Sequelcast 2 presents Ready Player One, top 10 hidden references from the movie. I'm Matt Bradley-Tschirgi.
I'm Sean Christopher Franson. I'm Tony Minsent.
I'm Eric Windsor.
And we picked this movie special because this is Tony's favorite movie.
Yep.
And Ready Player One is really a movie that's quite interesting because I see it as sort of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but for video games. You have so many different references happening all over the place that watching it at home, you can really sort of freeze frame to catch the references. So here, both Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Ready Player One are based on books. So on the left there, you see the books, and on the right, you see some of the movie posters. And I just want to sort of talk, before we get into our top 10 list about the references, why don't we go around and discuss what we thought of the first time seeing the movie Ready Player One, kind of general idea.
Am I first then?
Sure, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, Shane, you go first.
I don't like this movie very much.
You don't?
I apologize if this turns into a hate fest. If you did like the movie, it's fine to like a movie. I was really taken aback that they felt the need to explain what leveling up was, or loot, or Easter eggs, or any of those things. And I'm like, yeah, it's 2018. We've all played video games, all of us. Like, everybody in this room has done that, knows what that means, and it's not 1991 anymore where it's that. So it felt really condescending most of the time. It was like, hey, do you get it? Do you get it? It's a video game. You got it, right? And yeah, so it bugged me most of the time. It does look nice, and I like Ty Sheridan. I like Steven Spielberg. I like Ben Mendelsohn. So there's a lot of people I like in it, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess, when thinking about it, I think there's some things I like about it. I like it has good action, good effects. The plot is like quite different from the book, actually. Eric, you read the book recently?
Yeah, well, I read the book and then I reread it
Yeah.
to get ready for the panel, just saying, because it's been years since I'd read it.
So you have some thoughts on that? How they're different?
Well, I went through and I made like a bunch. I mean, obviously the biggest parts, of course, they kind of slimmed down the race for the keys, the activities in order to actually earn them, the challenges, some differences in the characters. Yeah, it was really just slimmed down to fit that 2-hour kind of frame.
We also mentioned that some of the main characters in the book are of a larger size, let's say, than in the movie.
Yeah. Wade is definitely, his screen portrayal is a lot different than the way he's described in the book. So Rubenesque.
Rubenesque, that's a good word. Good five-letter word. Tony, what do you think about Ready Player One?
Well, I had never read the books. I didn't really have any feelings going into the movie. It's fine. Steven Spielberg did his best, I think, considering he had to condense it all down. It's pretty to look at. I can't really comment on how it differs from the book at all, but I think the plot in the movie is kind of shallow and boring, but it may have worked better as like a mini-series.
I could see that, yeah, because the book has a lot going on, and you have a movie that's 2 hours, you have to do so much setup of the world that then it feels like you're cramming in too much, and that one of the places they go to is based on The Shining, which is an R-rated movie, and then you're displaying it in a PG-13 movie. That seems like a little bit of a strange choice there, but on the other hand, it looks a lot like the Shining Stanley Kubrick film.
My thoughts on it are kind of the same across the board. I don't think it fit the format for a film. I think it rushed way too much. I think it would have done better as like a limited series, something done on a streaming service. Nothing super huge with like 2 or 3 seasons, but I think maybe a 6 or an 8 hour,
Yeah, I could see that.
Limited
series. More time.
Would have been a lot better. But the budget for it would have been huge. It would have been probably 3 times what it was for the movie.
Yeah.
In terms of visuals and being able to put in all of those references. Sorry.
Well, I think before we move on, we have some prizes to give away. Let's give away a prize.
Give it away.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's do a trivia question. So don't shout out the answer, just raise your hand. And let's see, Eric, if you could pick out the person.
I'll pick out the person.
So the question is fill in the blank. Ready Player Blank.
Gentleman in the black hoodie there.
Really?
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, 1. That's right. So come up here.
Wow,
Congratulations.
What a question.
You're gonna get, isn't that a good, well, more better trivia coming on, I hope. This is a novelization, Five Nights at Freddy's, The Silver Eyes. So the first of a trilogy. You're welcome. Enjoy. I played Five Nights at Freddy's briefly. I'm a bit surprised it wasn't something in the movie, but and now they have like a Banana Splits movie that's sort of the same idea.
Well, the production company that did that actually wrote a rough draft of what was supposed to be the first Five Nights at Freddy's live-action movie. It was then turned down, and surprisingly, that script was then turned into the Banana Splits movie. So,
The more you know.
The band?
Damn.
So here is this thing I found fairly annoying, where online for Ready Player One, they did posters that look just like posters from other movies, but they have the characters from Ready Player One as their avatars. So you have like 80s and 90s stuff, like...
and there are more than just these.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Just
there's
a
more than
handful.
these 10.
Yeah.
But it just really is something. You have like... Again, you have some like more rated stuff on there, which is kind of weird. You have the Lost Boys. You have Iron Giant. So I mean, some of the stuff they have like Labyrinth, stuff they don't even make reference to in the movie, really. That they're doing as these kind of parody posters.
It reflects the movie a lot, you know, of, hey, remember that? And then that's it. It's just, do you remember that? Like, that's what
Yeah.
Or when you
lot
see a
of
character on the screen. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we had to do kind of a shortened version for this panel, is because there's like 300, 400 plus references within the whole film. So, I mean, we could talk all day about everything that's referenced within the film.
In fact, I think the movie should have been called Hey, Remember This?
Yeah.
Would have been good.
I did. I remembered all of it.
All right, so we're going to start the countdown and see who has to presents Ready Player One Top 10 Hidden References.
In no discernible order.
Yeah, notice we'll just
Yeah.
make these kind of randomly. So,
Number 10.
Here you go, number 10. So that is Goro from Mortal Kombat, and that is when 2 of the characters are speaking to each other, and was it Artemis is inside Goro and reaches an alien thing through Goro's
Chest burster.
Oh, yeah.
Chest burster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a reference inside a reference.
Literally.
Literally, yeah, literally. In that case. And
it like eats upwards.
yeah,
It's kind of a cool moment.
That's kind of gross, isn't it? Yeah, it kind
Yeah,
of
it's pretty
eats
gross for PG-13.
up and over.
It was one of those scenes that was done real heavy visual effects, just like, you know, the race scene where you're like looking at everything. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
just overload, sensory overload.
Yeah.
And here's a question for the audience. I mean, so this is Goro. How many people knew who this character was when they saw it in the movie? I mean, like
Yeah,
half.
that one, yeah.
What?
Okay. Interesting.
So, I mean, the movie never says this is Goro. It doesn't say it's from Mortal Kombat, but it is, you know, this, at least in that first Mortal Kombat movie in the 90s, Goro was a big character who then got kicked in the balls by Johnny Cage and thrown off a cliff or something.
Oh, yeah.
So, they got the punch.
He died a noble
not
death.
Super punch.
They didn't reference that.
No, they didn't reference that scene in Ready Player One. Let's go to the next slide. Number 9. This one is, forgive us, we cannot see the slides from where we are.
Batmobile.
Oh, yeah, Batman.
This is the Batmobile. This is from the race scene,
The copper key race. Yeah.
the Copper Key race, and I think this is one of my favorite sequences in the film. You know, it's
cool.
kind of like Mario Kart gone wild. You have really. What was that? Oh.
It was a laugh. They were laughing.
Oh, it was a laugh.
They liked Mario Kart Gone Wild.
It's amazing. Yeah, laughter and applause throw me off. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that about panels. Oh, thank you. Yeah, but I think that you have all the different things. I love the effect when the cars wreck into things and kind of turn into coins, and people can drive by and collect the coins in the cars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was there during this race. It was a way for them to showcase Parzival not being quite a seasoned player, didn't have a lot of money, whereas in the book, he's stuck on, Ludo, the planet, the school planet, and he doesn't have access to all of Oasis. And so he's having to earn his way, and then, by coincidence, that's where he finds the first key is there, so. But yeah.
What do you think in the movie about like the wizard, which is like the avatar of Halliday, the guy that makes up that
Anorak.
Yeah, Anorak. What do you think? I mean, I almost thought they should have picked a wizard like Gandalf or some wizard people know instead of it's Anorak. It's like, who the heck is he?
He's named after a type of coat.
I was gonna say that's a jacket.
Yeah.
It's like a waterproof.
It's what Kenny wears on South Park. Yeah.
I guess
I
next
think
time let's
it's
do
served
top
well.
10 jacket references.
I think it served well for his insular fandom of all things Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy. Him having a persona within a persona rather than just himself, because he was very selfless, Halliday as a character. So it makes sense.
I like how animated the Mark Rylance makes the wizard versus the super awkward
That's true.
guy in real life. Like it's Mark Rylance is really good generally, and so it's nice to see him kind of giving those two sides and how we present ourselves in games versus the real world.
I almost thought when Halliday's talking just as his human self, he sounds a bit like Garth in Wayne's World.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe
Kind of
too.
mumbling thing. Let's go on to the next one.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8.
This one is, I apologize for this.
Oh, this is the stickers on this.
Thank you. Yeah. Right. So this is they meet the characters in the van, and on this guy's VR setup, they have Mortal Kombat and Batman stickers on the side of it. It's something you could make out here. Hopefully, you can make it out on that screen. But in the movie, it's kind of tough to see. And I think you mentioned, the Artemis character.
Artemis as well, later on in the
Batman
film.
stickers.
She has a sticker on her visor as well.
So maybe there's like a Batman fan club or something.
Well, there's several Batman references throughout.
Yeah.
They had different
Batman's
from
climbing the mountain at the
They had
beginning when they're.
Michael Keaton Batman. They had Batman from the Arkham games. I mean, they had different avatars. So yeah,
Joker from the Arkham games too.
correct. And Harley Quinn.
All right, we'll see those later on in the list. But
Spoilers.
Yep, spoilers. But before that, let's give away another prize. I'm going to ask the question, Eric, again, if you could pick someone. So, let's see. What is the question? I prepped for this very well. Okay. What about this? What is your favorite video game?
In the orange.
Overwatch. Okay, very good.
Ooh, a controversial answer. Come on up.
Surprise. Yeah, Overwatch. Overwatch is really fun. Tony, you play that a lot, right?
Probably too much, yeah.
Too much? Right? So, the prize you get is this novel called King's Quest: The Floating Castle. Have you heard of King's Quest before? King's Quest is a game that's been around for 30-something years. So, I hope you get something.
Active Psy out there.
Yeah, I hope you get something out of this novel.
And it's the first book in the series.
The first book in a series.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Also, we're 1,000,000 years old.
And just as an aside, to bring up Overwatch, there were a lot of Overwatch Easter eggs.
Yeah.
That's right.
Throughout the
Tracer?
film as well. Tracer.
Yeah.
And other characters.
And some other ones?
And then there was a picture of the Overwatch logo in the pavilion when Wade, after getting the first key, and he has all this coin, and he's going through and purchasing cool gear. Yeah. Borderlands is in there too. Claptrap.
Why don't you talk about that? That's sort of surprising because Borderlands is a game with 5 zillion guns in it, but the way it's in the movie, you barely see it at all.
Oh, it's in the bottom left corner.
They paid for the license, so they had to throw it in somewhere and use the money.
All right,
You gotta buy those licenses in bulk. You gotta use all of them.
Let's move on to the next one. Number 7.
It's Harley Quinn.
This is Harley Quinn with IROC, and we thought the blue person might be a Navi from Avatar. You can't really tell though.
Yeah.
It's sort of vague.
That's what I thought that when I saw it when I was watching. I was like, oh, that's one of them avatars. And
What an avatar.
Seems to have a lot of clothes for an avatar.
Yeah.
Navi thing, but I don't really know. But I mean,
But they could be dressed up because they're at the nightclub.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting that they use Harley Quinn from the Arkham Asylum games. They use that design, which is more. They might even use the model from the game. I don't really know, but it looks. It's not like the one from the animated series, or it's the more realistic rendering.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about the character up there of IROC, who's kind of the assassin? He makes bad jokes.
it's a weird role for T.J. Miller, who I'm never happy to see in movies nowadays. But he makes jokes but they aren't T.J. Miller jokes. They aren't like sarcastic. They're just like, I don't know. It's very strange. He's a very strange character.
Substandard observation.
Yeah.
Which comes from the character IROC, not T.J. Miller.
Right.
So,
Well, it's incongruous to cast him when he's not. They're not taking advantage of his kind of persona.
Yeah,
It's
it definitely
weird
didn't
to me.
embody the character
It
at
seemed
all.
weird to me that he had like all this awesome stuff and he gets hired to like not assassinate, you can't kill in a movie, but take out Parzival, and like he just doesn't seem like his persona is like, this guy wouldn't be good at video games, like just the way that he carries himself,
Well,
like
he
a dialogue
carries
and
himself
stuff.
like he's, oh, that's a camper move.
It's kind of neat.
I was just like, how does this guy have all this stuff? I don't know.
It's kind of neat we never see him in the real world.
I thought that was a bit surprising, especially here.
That's a big diversion there, or divergent from where the book spends more time. He's more integral in outing Wade. So the whole nightclub scene here, even though there is a nightclub, a mentioned part of that in the book, it's kind of shuffled out of place in the book. Instead of going there and talking about the next clue, because at this point in the book, they're not even hanging out together. The high five aren't a thing yet. They're all still separate, non-clanning members. But IROC figures out and kind of turns Wade in, and so they needed this scene to kind of throw that next kind of act for the film to kind of continue. So it's really weird to how they did this. This is one of the parts that I really hate because it was flashy and they had all the really cool dance music, Staying Alive. I really like that.
Yeah.
But it served really no purpose other than to point out who Wade really is in the real world to Iowa.
To set up the plot,
That was it.
That's basically it. Let's move on to the next one. Number 6.
Can you see this one?
It's a gray blob. It's a big gray blob.
The gray blob
From the Blob, right?
yes.
The original Black and white Blob.
I can't see from my angle.
Sorry, we can't see the screen on the side.
We do this professionally.
Is this Duke Nukem?
I think it is Duke Nukem. Yeah.
It's Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem, you can barely see him.
Yeah, you can probably barely see it on there too. It's really dark in the movie, but there's a character, Duke Nukem, who was a video game character in the 90s. And he's shooting a gun at H, one of the main characters. They kind of introduced the battle areas where...
Planet Doom.
Planet Doom, yeah.
Yeah.
And Duke Nukem is a character, video game character that's a ripoff of a lot of Kurt Russell characters and one-liners from other movies.
It's quintessential 80s action guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Alpha male.
Alpha male. They don't have him speak.
Shooting guns and saying one line.
Yeah, they don't think he could have a speaking role based on what he says in the
That's
game. So.
probably for the best.
Yeah, he doesn't
Right.
really say a lot of clean words.
Yeah.
He's kind of flexing.
That would have ruined the PG-13 for this film.
But still, I mean, I like that they did Duke Nukem. That's kind of an obscure grab. He does like one game every 10 years. He's like the lunar eclipse or whatever. That's not even right, is it?
No.
Okay. Yep.
Not even a little bit.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Number 5.
This is the setup for the race.
This
was
is
the
Street Fighter. You see his back for a split second as they show the cars on there. And there's a lot of Street Fighter references in the film. There's a Chun-Li, there's a Blanka at other points.
He hit Dukins at the end.
Which one? Oh,
Dukins.
does he? Okay.
Yeah, he actually says it when he's fighting Ben Mendelsohn at the end there.
The big battle.
That's right, the big battle. And with Street Fighter, that you pick, again, the characters don't really speak much except for the Hadouken thing, but you pick Ryu, you pick Blanka, you kind of pick like the original Street Fighter 2 characters. You're not picking ones from the newer games. And Wreck-It Ralph had Street Fighter stuff too. It had Zangief.
More obscure than any of
And
them.
Bison, yeah. So
a deep cut.
So we're doing a deep cut. Let's go on to the next one. Number 4. This is the one where it's a bunch of characters charging. So you have like He-Man, you have a Mogwai from Gremlins, you have the version of the Joker with like a hat on there.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, the Gremlins were put in by the VFX team without Spielberg knowing.
Oh.
So, until he saw an edit of the film, he didn't know that that was going to be in there.
Oh,
So it was a surprise way for them to get an Easter egg in for him.
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Is this the one with Joust as well?
That's coming up.
That's coming up. Sorry,
That's
guys.
another spoilers. But yeah, but I think what's neat in the movie is for that final assault, you have all these cameos come up. That these shots were like not even a second long.
Yeah.
And even if you pause and try to go through it, it's so blurry. I mean, this was like the best picture I could get, and it's still kind of smeary. You can't quite tell what everything is, and but still that they did that is neat. But it reminds me of I made the reference earlier to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is kind of similar except about cartoons. And you don't really get a scene where there's 30 characters running around until the end where there's like a wide shot.
Yeah.
And this one is Ready Player One is constantly cramming in video game characters so much all the time that I think it loses the specialness of like, oh wow, there's like 50 people in the scene instead of just, like Donald Duck being drunk on the piano or whatever.
Well, there's a lot of, and it's not just video game stuff. There's movie reference stuff too. There's a character that's an avatar that's walking around that's John Bender from Breakfast Club.
Yep, and there's
And it's like a half second to catch that.
there's like someone dressed up as Beetlejuice at one point in the film.
Yeah, but that person has a speaking line, so.
I almost wish they pushed it more and it was literally everything rather than I
They
almost
still have quite a
almost-
lot. I mean, all the rights they have to clear.
Well, yeah, but what I'm getting at though is like if literally everything in these battle shots was a reference and there wasn't just like a generic, there's some dudes in the back and a monster and this, it would feel a little bit more joyful looking for it because it'd be a lot richer. Whereas you've got 4 or 5 in here and you've got 300 references in the movie. I mean, it still feels a little half-baked, I guess.
Well, in the book, the references are quite different too. There's a lot of more references to music. They talk about Rush for I think 30 pages.
Well, even in the movie too, they did a lot with costuming. So they would have like the neighbor lady in the stacks at the beginning of the film. She's wearing the Synchronicity shirt from the Police, and then at the end, she's wearing a shirt from New Order from their album cover. And of course, H is wearing the 2112 Rush shirt. So, I mean, they were able to fit in quite a bit, I think, musically within posters and, character. I think the soundtrack for the movie was really fantastic. So,
Yep, Jump by Van Halen.
lots of nostalgia there.
Lots of nostalgia, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you even have the composer of this film, Alan Silvestri, is the same one who did Back to the Future. And when they have these Megas Cube thing, they do the Back to the Future music sting.
Yeah, they have lots of little music
A
things
lot of
like
little
that.
things, yeah. So that's something that's fun about rewatching everything. Let's give away another prize. And the question is going to be something, I guess, that's not really trivia, but sort of open-ended to make it a fair playing field. Let's see. What is, out of all the references in Ready Player One, the movie, which is your favorite? Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, wow.
I don't think
Trans Am?
that's a good one.
Is that in the race?
Is that in the race, the car?
Yeah, it's also the car that Show drives.
Oh, wow.
So for like that half second, you see the car in flames, you can barely make out the hood. But yeah.
Nice. It would be nice to see like a CG view for P.T. Justice.
Come on, get your prize.
Yeah, get your prize. So this prize is I came out with the book just like a few weeks ago, so it's my book and it's signed. It is The Films of Uwe Boll, Volume 1, the video game movies. So, enjoy. It's signed, I signed it, yes. You can sell it on eBay. There's already some people reselling it on Amazon, so.
Yeah, make that money.
Enjoy it. You're welcome. Let's go on to the next one. Number three, it might be one of my favorite references, a big wide shot, a lot of stuff in here. But what I like is in the foreground you have the Battletoads. Anyone here know what the Battletoads is? That's one that I would have thought, okay.
Do you know the names of the Battletoads? Is a question as well. Oh.
Gentleman in the blue hoodie. Aaron.
Rash, Pimple, Zit.
Yep.
Zits.
Pimple, and Rash. Yeah, Battletoads was a Nintendo game that like no one could get past level 3 or something. Like, it was extremely hard, even for a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And it's become kind of a meme over the years, right? Didn't you work at GameStop, Tony, and people would call?
Yeah, people called me about it all the time back in like 2006.
And what would they say?
They just asked about Battletoads. I think we
Battletoads and stuff.
we unplugged the phone for like a week.
That happened. My wife worked at a comic store, and people would come in and ask.
Come and ask about Battletoads.
Yeah, they didn't sell video games, and they'd be like, "Do you have Battletoads?" Yeah, okay, all right.
Very good. So, I mean, some of the other things in this wide shot, you have the ostriches from Joust, which was kind of neat to see done in a realistic style.
The one reference that they made to Joust, which had a bigger part in the book,
Yeah, I
was
think
actually part of the challenge.
Right, in the book, wasn't one of the challenges he goes in an ostrich from Joust and tries to knock out the other person?
Correct. That was part of the first key.
And they might even have Joust to play as one of the arcade games in the exhibitors hall.
They do. Yeah,
They do have Joust.
Yeah,
Okay.
yesterday.
And what is that? At Ground Control, they have a version of Joust that's like 10-player.
Oh, like Killer Queen, yeah.
Killer
It's a lot
Queen,
like
that was a lot of fun. Has anyone here played Killer Queen? Nope, one person. So it's like a 5 versus 5, like multiplayer competitive thing, and I think they're doing a version for home systems.
Just came out.
Did it? It just came out.
And Xbox too.
Perfect.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep.
So that one is fun if you enjoy Joust. On to the next one.
Number 2.
Number 2. Yeah, this is from early in the movie, and you have a reference that's pretty old to Marvin the Martian, a Looney Tunes character, who was in the Dodge Dodgers in the 25th and a half century, or whatever it's called. And then you see RoboCop's butt on the other side of the screen, right? Again, a character from an R-rated movie in a PG-13 film. There's nothing saying that you can't do that, but it's kind of strange in that you can't do RoboCop things. I mean, you also have Chucky, right? And all those are R-rated movies, pretty violent. And Chucky curses a lot.
And well, it's,
that's the one
the
after.
IOI guy. He says,
Yes.
It's Blank and Chucky.
Yeah, it's the one. It's the PG-13 F-bomb you get.
And I'm not sure.
One allowance.
Right. I mean, I'm not a prude, but I'm not sure that was really needed for this movie. It seems to say, sort of stick up with the sore thumb.
I just watched all of those movies, and
The Child's Play?
Yeah, I kind of love them, and I was like, he just stabs people, he didn't quip at all, come on. How much does Brad Dourif cost?
Yeah, they just use, I think, audio of him grunting from one of the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have had a bad joke because he jumped on the guy.
Or Scream, he does that Scream, too.
Oh, his voice, yeah. Good old Child's Play. On to the next one. Number one. And then after we finish with number 1, we're going to give away prizes and then do a Q&A, and people from the audience can ask questions and talk about whatever Ready Player One adjacent things they like to. Number 1 is one of my favorites. This is a split second. You see some of the Sanrio Hello Kitty characters, like Crow, Bee, Hello Kitty, and I don't know the name of the third one.
That's Maru.
Yeah.
What?
That's Maru.
Oh, okay.
The penguin guy, yeah.
Heaven forbid. But yes, so I mean, that
How dare you.
Yeah. That you have the Hello Kitty characters on there, I thought was amusing, something pretty obscure. And not much more to say about Hello Kitty. They don't talk. No. They don't do anything. It's something a lot of people don't catch this one in.
But they probably paid quite a bit for the rights to just show them.
Yeah, just to flash them on the screen. How about that? Well, let me give away the last prize, and then we'll do a Q&A with the audience. The question is going to be another difficult one, like I've been doing this whole time. So, what is, in the spirit of Ready Player One, what is your favorite video game movie?
Yes, you, sir. The black shirt.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat.
The first one?
First one, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, come up here.
Come on up.
Get your prize. This is a book, Ready Player One, the novel. Have you read this before? Yeah? So it says, now a major motion picture directed by Steven Spielberg. I don't know why the cover shows him like in the stacks. That's not very exciting. It's just like a...
Is this
And
one where
look,
his leg
it's
is
the
super-
long leg.
Yeah,
It's the long leg pose. That's
oh, that's right.
the
Yeah,
best.
look how long his leg
Look
is.
how long his leg is.
It takes up like half the book cover.
Photoshopped.
Bad Photoshop, but enjoy. And with Ready Player One, if you could just do one more slide, it just says questions. So with that shot from the movie. We were mentioning there was two lines of dialogue that really bother us in this movie.
Only those two.
Well,
Everything else is
two of many. So, Eric, do you want to do one?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
It's your favorite line.
It is
You've
my
been talking
favorite
about
line.
it since
I should know these things. One is the main character, his aunt gets killed, and then when he's confronting the bad guy about it, he says, "You killed my mom's sister," which is a very, why doesn't he just say, "You killed my aunt"? My mom's sister is such a mouthful.
I think it's the way Ty Sheridan delivers the line. Because we watched it again last night, and I was just like, this is really bad.
Wait, "You killed my aunt" feels awkward too, doesn't it? Like that's.
But he calls her Aunt Alice at the beginning of the film, like, and then he says Alice when he's running after her to like save her, like.
I mean, what would be better if you said, "Oh no, my aunt"? I don't know.
You killed my
It's
uncle's
just,
wife.
I guess it just rolled off just very awkwardly.
Yeah.
And I think it's the delivery. I don't think necessarily so much the words, it's the delivery in that moment.
The other is, I can never quote this line correctly, but it's about like a gamer knows a hater. How does that go?
Oh, it's like fanboys.
Fanboys know hate.
Pick out haters.
Yeah, a fanboy can pick out a hater, and it's just sort
Yeah, when
of
he's-
lame.
And he's tricking the boss guy.
Yeah, he's talking to the boss guy who has that lovely password. All right, so
This password on this chair.
Man 69.
yeah. All right, let's take some questions from the audience. They don't have to be about Ready Player One. They can just be about general video game or movie stuff. But if they're about the movie, all the better. Anyone have any questions?
Comments.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like there's any references that should have been in it?
Oh, great question. Great, so he was asking, do you feel like there's any references that should have been in the movie? I think there's just so many things they could have done. The one thing I thought was a little surprising is in the movie, one thing that is like the book is at the end you have them playing the adventure game and figuring out the Easter egg. But you could have maybe done, if I was doing maybe more like the 8-bit imagery of the video games, having pixelated graphics walk around there, I think could have been interesting because everything looked so polished that it could make it look flat. I think we need more different art styles of the characters walking around.
I said that actually while we were watching it. I was like, video games are such a wide palette of different styles and fidelities, and everything in the movie looks exactly the same as everything else. And then there's also the everything's brightly lit grays and browns and some greens and blues thrown in there. But in terms of games to reference, I mean, did we throw any Nintendo
No,
properties?
Nintendo did not.
You're right,
license
yeah.
They weren't too many
Go for it.
characters. No.
So no Mario, no Sonic is in there? No.
Sonic is
Sonic
in
is
there.
in there,
yeah.
Yeah, he's in
Oh,
the
he
bottom
is.
right corner. You can barely see him like a shadow. Yeah.
You could.
So,
It's
I
the
mean-
only time you'll hear me say this. Could you use more Sonic?
I mean, so I think like the part of the lesson here too is that Disney is willing to pay more money than Warner Brothers. Because Disney, you had Bowser in the Wreck-It Ralph movies, and so forth, and you had Q*bert. I mean, Q*bert would have been cool in this movie. I don't like Q*bert.
And I have one myself.
Yes.
From the movie, they had the moment where they turned into Gundam during the battle using the
Yes.
artifact. I really like that because I love Gundams. I build Gunpla. But in the book, Wade fights the Mechagodzilla with Cerebto, and he's dressed as Ultraman, which is like one of my favorite Japanese shows. And I would have loved to have seen that be portrayed on the screen. I think they did a disservice not doing that. And there were some other things where they traveled to the Tyrell Corporation from Blade Runner, trying to find a gate for the third key. I think that would have been cool. I mean, they had a lot of other really cool old school deep cuts like Zork from the PC, Black Tiger, the joust scene that we talked about Wade had to defeat the Lich King from D&D during Joust.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that would have been kind of interesting. But yeah.
Good question. All right, how about anyone else?
Yes, sir, you can
Over
back.
there.
Just want to bring it up, like, do you guys have any favorite or memorable rage quit moments?
Rage quit moments?
Rage quit, that's a good question. So that's when you're playing a video game and get so mad you throw the controller.
Yeah. Back in the day in Halo 2. Like, probably every other match.
I played Neo a couple of years ago. I think that came out in 2016, the samurai kind of Dark Souls-y thing. And they make you fight a bunch of the bosses at the end, like right when you're ready to fight the final guy, and they've been chasing the whole game. And I was like, you know what? I did this already. I'm done doing this. And was pretty salty about it.
The one that got me upset was I was maybe in second grade playing Bionic Commando on the Nintendo, and there's a level near the end where your guy swings with his metal arm and goes whoop, 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 and you got to do it like 10 times in a row to perfectly over this pit of spikes to get to this thing at the end. And that took me forever. I don't think the game has, maybe the game has passwords, I don't quite remember about that part, but it took like a whole summer for me to beat that game. And I tried playing it when they re-released Bionic Commando on Xbox 360, and I couldn't even get past level 2. I'm like, oh, this is still a pretty hard game. I don't know how I beat this when I was like in second grade, but when you have more time to play video games, you're better at them, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I think for myself, so just as a, I don't know how to say it, I'm trying to think of the word, confession. I like to play really, really bad games. So I play all of them. Licensed games from movies, TV shows, pretty much anything and everything. The one that jumps out to me that was like a rage moment was probably Jumper, the video game on the 360.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's based on the movie with Hayden Christensen and Samuel L. Jackson?
By Doug Lyman.
Yeah.
And what about the game made you so frustrated?
Oh, it's just poorly designed.
Oh, it's just really bad?
Yeah, just really, really bad. The mechanic of using his power, his teleportation power, there were like all these different achievements for like grabbing a guy on this level and dropping him like in the Arctic to get like a different death scene, and you had to like pull off these impossible like little combinations. So, but yeah, no, I punish myself when I play video games. I have all of the achievements in both Saw games, so that tells you something.
What game?
Saw.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We can talk about that for a second. I mean, that's pretty unusual. You don't see games based on movies that much anymore, but then they did 2 based on like Saw, which is one of the more violent movies ever. And they told an original story that was canon in a game with poor controls, where you're trying to solve either puzzles or get attacked by hobos in a maze or something.
It was like a
Press
rip-off
X
of...
to chop your arm off, basically.
Well, they were like Silent Hill rip-offs, where you're like trying to go through and they've got consequences, A and B story, basically. Do one thing here or not do this, so...
Yeah, sounds bad.
Yeah, a lot of those are like quick time event games, so yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do we have any people that want to ask some questions?
Yes, sir.
Well, we know that game films are really bad, but do you consider Wreck-It Ralph as the holy grail of video game movies?
Good question. So you're asking if the Wreck-It Ralph is the holy grail of video game movies. The first one I think is pretty darn good. The second one I wasn't as crazy about, but it's I think it does a better job at doing the same kind of concept as Ready Player One in some ways.
I didn't see the second one.
meshes video games and references like way better.
I mean, like if you have bad films like Yui Bo's Alone in the Dark, the House of the Dead, like those type of video game movies that were really bad.
Oh, yeah.
But like Wreck-It Ralph is the only good film that became a success after the bad video game adaptation. They consider like the holy grail of video game movies.
Yeah. Is there a better? I can't think of one. Full disclosure, I've never seen Wreck-It Ralph all the way through.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's very good.
I've seen it with the sound off, most of it with the sound off, but yeah.
You know, if I was to think of a movie I think is better than Wreck-It Ralph that's sort of video game or video game related, I really liked the first Silent Hill movie. I thought it looked a lot like the game, used some of the music, had fog, was kind of creepy. The story didn't make a lot of sense, but it didn't always make sense in the game either, so I think it seemed pretty faithful as far as that stuff goes.
And we've talked about it, we did the Uwe Boll panel last year. I thought Far Cry was decent.
Yeah.
The Uwe Boll Far Cry, that's a pretty fun movie. But it's probably not a better movie than Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, yeah.
Tony, do you have a thought?
Tony?
No, I think Wreck-It Ralph's
Wreck-It Ralph.
probably, yeah. It's just
Gold
put together
standard.
well, and yeah.
And, all right, well, very good. Let me think. I think we had one more person with a question over here.
What are your gamer scores?
I was asking what our gamer scores are.
Yours is, we were close for a while, and then I switched to PC, and
Yeah.
you got way up now.
Wow, I can look it
Mine's
up.
probably 80,000.
Wow, so there's a gamer score on the Xbox where it adds up the points after you play games and stuff. I think mine, and it's mainly because my wife plays it more than I do, it might be like 12,000. It's not that much.
Thanks for explaining what it is, because I'm gonna get executed after this for not knowing what a gamer score is.
Well, now you know.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I am currently 230,050 points.
Wow.
So,
High number is good, right? It's not like golf.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have no social life.
All right, well, very good. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this panel we did on Ready Player One movie references. You can check out our podcast, Sequelcast 2, at sequelcast2.com. Anyone else have anything they want to plug?
I'm on Twitter at Franson Sean. I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sean Christopher Franson. It's SEAN, not Shane. I think that's it.
I'm on Twitter at ToneMan.
And I'm on Twitter at Lost Crichton.
Okay.
I did think of something.
Oh, but
I host Geeks Who Drink Trivia at Breakside Brewery Monday nights at 7 p.m. So if you want to see me host trivia, we have a lot of fun there.
Cool.
okay, so this is Matt with the Sequelcast 2. Thank you so much for coming to this live panel, Ready Player One.